Your setbacks weren't punishments, they were divine setups. You were never abandoned, you were being forged in fire for your calling. In the wilderness of your struggles, God has been preparing you for something extraordinary. Every trial you faced was a step toward your destined wealth and abundance. The isolation you felt was not rejection, but a sacred separation for growth. God's plan is unfolding, turning your pain into purpose and your weight into wealth. You've wandered through deserts of doubt, but now the oasis of opportunity is near. Those closed doors were redirecting you to the gates of greater blessings. Your story is one of transformation, from scarcity to overflow. Embrace the fire that refined you, for it's shaping you into a vessel of prosperity. God sees your faithfulness in the wilderness and is ready to reward it abundantly. No experience was wasted. Each one built the foundation for your accelerated harvest. The wilderness taught you resilience, a key to unlocking divine wealth. You were chosen not for comfort, but for conquest over challenges. Now, the seeds of your perseverance are sprouting into riches beyond measure. Remember the times you felt lost. They were guiding you to your true path. God's timing is perfect, accelerating your journey from lack to lavishness. Your hardships were hidden lessons, equipping you for the wealth ahead. In the silence of the wilderness, God whispered promises of prosperity. You are emerging stronger, ready to claim the harvest that's been prepared. The struggles you endured were divine setups for success. You've wondered why life felt like an endless wilderness of closed doors. Resources seemed to dry up, leaving you questioning your every step. Financial struggles and isolation made you feel alone in your battles. Why did opportunities slip away while others seemed to thrive effortlessly? Those moments of confusion were part of a greater divine narrative. Your path wasn't random chaos. It was God's intentional preparation. In the wilderness, God was forging your character for the wealth to come. Every setback was a setup for a comeback more magnificent than you imagined. The delays were not denials, but divine timing for an accelerated breakthrough. You're not like the crowd. You carry a unique divine seed within you. This seed is meant to multiply, turning scarcity into overflowing abundance. Your experiences set you apart, giving you insight others can't comprehend. God has anointed you for prosperity, far beyond worldly pursuits. Like a hidden treasure, your potential waits to be uncovered and shared. You were designed to prosper, influencing others through your wealth. The wilderness revealed your strength, making you ready for this calling. No one else has your story, your gifts, or your path to abundance. Embrace your uniqueness, for it's the key to your accelerated harvest. You weren't abandoned in the shadows, you were set apart for greatness. God's favor has positioned you for a harvest that will astonish everyone. Your faithfulness in trials has not gone unnoticed by the divine. Now, wealth is flowing toward you, breaking through every barrier. The overflow you've prayed for is manifesting in unexpected ways. Right now, God is accelerating your journey from wilderness to wealth. Doors that were shut are bursting open with opportunities. Visualize the seeds of your efforts sprouting rapidly into blessings. Biblical promises assure an abundant yield, just as in Joel's harvest. Your spirit is stirring, sensing the shift toward unprecedented favor. That unexpected opportunity you noticed. It's the start of your wealth. Feel the change in the air as God's acceleration takes hold. The pull in your heart is a sign of blessings rushing in. No more wandering, your season of abundance has begun. Those who opposed you tried to keep you in the wilderness. Naysayers aimed to silence your dreams, fearing your rise. Financial setbacks were attempts to derail your divine path. But these oppositions only prove your authenticity and calling. Like spiritual warfare, they highlight the threat of your potential. Break free from the chains of doubt and claim your victory. Their resistance is evidence that your harvest is worth fighting for. It's time to awaken from the shadows and embrace your power. Stop doubting and start declaring your wealth into existence. Take bold steps today toward the prosperity God has promised. Don't shrink back. Your moment to thrive is now. Visualize yourself stepping out of the wilderness into abundance. Declare affirmations that align with your divine destiny. Every action you take now accelerates your harvest further. Rise up and claim the wealth that's been prepared for you. You don't need anyone's approval to pursue your calling. God has equipped you with the power to manifest your harvest. Tap into that inner strength and watch doors swing open. You are a co-creator in God's plan for prosperity. No obstacle can stand against the authority you've been given. Speak your blessings into reality with confident faith. Your accelerated wealth is not a dream, it's your inheritance. Stand firm, for you are empowered to overcome any challenge. Remember, you are the chosen one, destined for greatness. As your harvest accelerates, the world will witness your transformation. Echoing your identity, you were handpicked for this purpose. The wilderness was just a chapter. Wealth is your story's climax. Reaffirm your status. You are set apart for abundant blessings. God's acceleration is upon you, turning struggles into success. You are the chosen one, and your time has come. If this message resonates with your soul, it's time to act. Sense God stirring your spirit for breakthrough and wealth. Don't ignore the call. Your harvest is ready to be claimed. Step into this new season with faith and expectation. Pray now for the acceleration you've been promised. Share this truth with others who are still in the wilderness. Your response today could ignite a chain of blessings. Watch as God moves mightily in your life from this moment. The wilderness ends here. Embrace the wealth that awaits. Let this be the day you fully commit to your divine path. Gather your courage and declare your victory over struggles. Every step forward brings you closer to overflowing abundance. Trust in God's timing, for your harvest is accelerating rapidly. Visualize the bountiful field of opportunities before you. No more delays. Prosperity is flowing into your life. Affirm your worth and step boldly into your calling. The fire that forged you now fuels your journey to wealth. You are not alone. God's favor surrounds you completely. Celebrate the shift, for your blessings are multiplying. Rise as the chosen one and claim your accelerated destiny. Let faith guide you from the wilderness to unimaginable riches. Now go forth and watch God turn your story into a testament of triumph. In the heart of the untamed wilderness, a divine spark ignites your path to unimaginable wealth. Picture the barren lands transforming under God's touch, where every trial becomes a stepping stone to abundance. God's hand shapes your story, turning dusty trails into rivers of gold and prosperity. Amid the echoes of isolation, your spirit rises, chosen for a harvest that defies the ordinary. Like ancient seeds buried in forgotten soil, your potential awakens to God's accelerating promise. The wilderness whispers secrets of wealth, revealing God's blueprint for your triumphant emergence. In shadows of struggle, God's light pierces through, heralding the rush of blessings yet to come. Your journey, once fraught with thorns, now paves the way for a harvest overflowing with divine favor. Behold the transformation. What was wilderness now blooms into fields ripe with God's accelerated wealth. God's breath stirs the winds of change, propelling you from scarcity to a legacy of riches. Through the haze of hardship, God's vision clarifies, unveiling the wealth destined for your grasp. In the quiet desolation, God's voice calls forth your inner strength, forging paths to untold prosperity. The wilderness, a forge of faith, molds you for the wealth that God's acceleration brings. Witness the shift. Barren branches bud with life, symbolizing your harvest accelerated by divine hands. God's promise echoes across the vast expanse, turning your wilderness wanderings into gateways of wealth. In the depths of your trials, God's preparation unfolds, readying you for an avalanche of blessings. Like a hidden spring bursting forth, your wealth emerges from the wilderness under God's watchful eye. The struggles you endured were but prelude to God's grand acceleration of your destined harvest. God's artistry paints your story, blending wilderness shadows with the vibrant colors of impending riches. From the ashes of delay, God's fire ignites your path, accelerating wealth beyond your wildest dreams. In the silence of solitude, God's whisper promises a harvest that will redefine your world. Your wilderness season, though fierce, was God's meticulous setup for an explosive wave of prosperity. Behold the dawn breaking over the desert. God's acceleration turns desolation into domains of wealth. God's sovereign plan weaves through your hardships, culminating in a harvest that stuns the heavens. In the grip of uncertainty, God's assurance stands firm, propelling you toward wealth's abundant shores. The wilderness yields its secrets to you, chosen one, as God's speed multiplies your rewards. Like stars piercing the night sky, God's promises illuminate your path from struggle to opulence. God's acceleration quickens your steps, transforming wilderness woes into triumphs of lavish provision. In the heart of adversity, God's favor blooms, ushering in a harvest of wealth unforeseen. Your unique trials were God's invitation, drawing you into the fast lane of divine abundance. God's hand orchestrates the symphony of your life, turning wilderness notes into melodies of riches. From the depths of desolation, God's power surges, accelerating your ascent to wealth's pinnacle. In the wilderness's embrace, God's voice declares your readiness for an unprecedented influx of blessings. Like a river swelling after rain, your harvest accelerates under God's commanding presence. God's precision in your pain carves pathways for wealth, making your wilderness a launch pad for glory. Behold the metamorphosis. What was wasteland now thrives, fueled by God's accelerating grace. In the throes of trial, God's promise anchors you, speeding toward a wealth that echoes eternity. Your wilderness was God's classroom, preparing you for the accelerated wealth pouring from heaven's storehouses. God's light dispels the darkness, revealing the treasures hidden in your path to prosperity. Like eagles soaring from nests in the cliffs, you rise with God's acceleration toward wealth's horizon. In the wilderness's vast silence, God's thunderous declaration awakens your harvest, swift and sure. God's favor, like morning dew, refreshes your spirit, hastening the flow of wealth into your life. From hidden struggles, God's acceleration emerges, turning your story into a testament of riches. In the shadow of setbacks, God's glory shines, propelling you into waves of abundant provision. Your journey through the wild mirrors God's design, fast-tracking you to a harvest of overflowing wealth. God's touch revitalizes the parched ground of your past, birthing an accelerated season of blessings. Like a phoenix from ashes, you emerge empowered, with God's wealth accelerating at your command. In the wilderness's lessons, God's wisdom equips you for the riches awaiting your bold claim. God's acceleration breaks chains of delay, unleashing a torrent of wealth upon your devoted path. Behold the divine exchange. Wilderness woes traded for wealth's wonders through God's mighty hand. In the quiet aftermath of storms, God's voice reassures, speeding your harvest to fruition. Your uniqueness shines in the wilderness, as God's plan accelerates wealth uniquely tailored for you. God's poetic justice turns your trials into triumphs, flooding your life with accelerated prosperity. Like a master artisan, God shapes your story, accelerating wealth from the wilderness's raw materials. In the heart of isolation, God's presence multiplies, hastening the arrival of your destined riches. God's acceleration defies time, transforming wilderness delays into immediate gateways of abundance. From the depths of doubt, God's truth rises, declaring your harvest accelerated and secure. In the wilderness's forge, God's fire refines you, preparing for wealth's explosive revelation. Your path, once obscured, now clears under God's guidance, racing toward a harvest of splendor. God's promise, etched in the stars, accelerates your wealth, turning wilderness into wonder. Like dawn chasing night, God's favor pursues you, bringing swift wealth to your waiting hands. In the echoes of endurance, God's reward accelerates, crowning your wilderness with riches untold. God's sovereign speed overtakes obstacles, delivering your harvest from the wilderness's grip. Behold the shift. Wilderness winds carry God's blessings, accelerating wealth into your reality. In the tapestry of trials, God's threads of gold weave an accelerated path to prosperity. Your spirit, awakened in the wild, now surges with God's power, claiming wealth divine. God's acceleration, like a rushing river, sweeps away barriers, flooding your life with harvest. From hidden hardships, God's light bursts forth, propelling you into realms of accelerated wealth. In the wilderness's silence, God's call resounds, igniting your journey to abundant riches. Like seeds bursting through soil, your potential explodes under God's accelerating touch. God's plan unfolds with urgency, turning your wilderness story into a saga of wealth. In the face of famine, God's provision accelerates, filling your storehouses with overflowing harvest. Your chosen status, refined in the wild, now attracts God's swift blessings of prosperity. God's voice thunders over the desert, declaring your wealth accelerated and unassailable. Like a lion roused from slumber, you awaken to God's acceleration, claiming your harvest. In the wilderness's lessons learned, God's favor accelerates, bestowing wealth beyond measure. God's mighty hand parts the seas of struggle, speeding you toward shores of riches. From the ashes of adversity, God's phoenix rises, accelerating your path to divine wealth. In the quiet conviction of faith, God's acceleration builds, unveiling treasures long concealed. Your uniqueness, honed in hardship, now shines as God's vehicle for accelerated abundance. God's promise, steadfast and true, propels your harvest from wilderness shadows into light. Like a symphony crescendo, God's timing accelerates your wealth, harmonizing past and future. In the wilderness's wake, God's glory manifests, flooding your life with instantaneous blessings. God's acceleration dismantles delays, ushering in an era of wealth for the chosen. Behold the divine momentum. Wilderness trials fuel God's rapid advance of your prosperity. In the Spirit's depth, God's whisper accelerates, transforming your journey into wealth's embrace. Your path, illuminated by God's grace, races toward a harvest of eternal riches. God's power, unchained in the wild, accelerates blessings, making your wilderness a memory. Like rivers converging to the sea, your efforts and God's favor merge in accelerated wealth. In the heart of perseverance, God's reward accelerates, crowning you with abundance divine. God's sovereign decree echoes, your wilderness ends and wealth's acceleration begins now. From the trials that tested your soul, God's hand extends, speeding harvest into view. In the dawn of realization, God's truth accelerates, revealing wealth as your inheritance. Your story, rewritten by God's pen, accelerates from wilderness woes to victory's peak. God's acceleration, a force unmatched, turns every setback into a springboard for riches. Like the sun conquering the night, God's light accelerates your path to prosperous heights. In the wilderness's final echoes, God's voice declares your wealth secured and swift. God's favor, poured out in abundance, accelerates your harvest, making the impossible possible. From hidden strengths forged in fire, God's acceleration launches you into realms of wealth. In the Spirit's awakening, God's power surges, propelling your journey to accelerated blessings. Your chosen identity, affirmed by God, accelerates wealth from the wilderness's end. God's poetic reflection on your path accelerates the flow of riches into your life. Like a warrior emerging victorious, you stand in God's acceleration, claiming your harvest. In the culmination of faith, God's hand accelerates wealth, turning dreams into reality. God's call resounds eternally. Step boldly into your accelerated harvest, where wilderness fades and wealth reigns supreme. God never wastes the trials of the wilderness. They forge your spirit for unprecedented abundance. There comes a season where hidden struggles reveal their divine purpose in your path to wealth. Every setback in the desert is a setup for God's accelerated harvest in your life. Divine preparation turns barren lands into fields overflowing with prosperity. Your journey through hardship is not in vain. It's the foundation for exponential blessings. God orchestrates every challenge to align you with a harvest beyond your imagination. In the silence of isolation, God is planting seeds of wealth that will soon erupt. The wilderness refines your faith, making way for a rapid influx of divine favor. No pain goes unaccounted. It's the catalyst for your accelerated breakthrough. Hidden in every trial is the key to unlocking God's promised overflow. Your struggles are not random. They are precise steps towards spiritual and material wealth. God transforms what was meant for harm into a highway of accelerated harvest. The desert's lessons equip you for a wealth that multiplies beyond measure. Every closed door in your past is opening gateways to abundant provision now. Divine timing ensures that your wilderness walk leads directly to overflowing riches. God is turning your endurance into evidence of an imminent, explosive harvest. What felt like endless wandering was God's way of preparing you for sudden prosperity. In the depths of difficulty, God is accelerating the seeds of your future success. Your hardships are the hidden curriculum for mastering wealth and influence. God redeems every moment of scarcity, propelling you into seasons of surplus. The wilderness was your training ground. Now watch as harvest accelerates in full force. Every tear shed in struggle waters the soil for God's rapid financial blooming. Divine wisdom turns past pains into platforms for accelerated economic triumph. God never leaves you in the desert without a plan for extravagant return. Your unique path through trials is designed for a harvest that astonishes the world. In God's economy, every loss is reclaimed with multiplied, accelerated gains. The fire of adversity purifies your vision for the wealth God is unveiling. Hidden strengths from your struggles are now fueling your accelerated destiny. God is aligning the stars of your story for a harvest that defies human logic. Every delay in the wilderness was a divine delay for a greater, faster reward. Your resilience in hardship signals the start of God's accelerated provision. God transforms wilderness woes into waves of wealth crashing upon your shores. No experience is wasted. Each one accelerates your path to divine abundance. The shadows of struggle are lifting, revealing God's accelerated harvest ahead. God is repurposing your pain into power for an overflow of blessings. Every challenge endured positions you for a harvest that arrives ahead of schedule. In the quiet of the desert, God is fast-tracking your journey to prosperity. Your trials were the chisel sculpting you for God's rapid financial masterpiece. God ensures that every wilderness moment contributes to your accelerated elevation. The depth of your struggles determines the height of your impending harvest. Divine acceleration turns what was lost in the wilderness into multiplied returns. God is weaving your hardships into a tapestry of wealth and fulfillment. Every step through scarcity is a stride toward God's explosive breakthrough. Your endurance in the desert awakens the seeds of accelerated favor. God redeems time in the wilderness, compressing years of growth into moments. Hidden in your trials is the blueprint for a harvest that overwhelms with joy. The wilderness was your refining fire, now igniting God's accelerated wealth. God turns every unmet expectation into a setup for surpassing abundance. Your past pains are the prelude to God's symphony of accelerated prosperity. In divine hands, wilderness wanderings become rocket fuel for your harvest. God is accelerating the fruits of your labor, turning struggles into triumphs. Every hardship endured echoes with the promise of God's imminent overflow. The desert's deprivations are giving way to God's lavish, speedy restoration. Your unique story of survival is the launchpad for accelerated divine wealth. God compresses seasons of waiting into instant manifestations of harvest. In the aftermath of trials, God unleashes waves of accelerated favor upon you. Every scar from the wilderness becomes a signpost to your prosperous destiny. God is fast-forwarding your breakthrough, turning ashes into acres of abundance. Your perseverance through pain positions you for God's accelerated elevation. Hidden lessons from struggles unlock doors to wealth beyond your wildest dreams. God transforms wilderness isolation into intimate encounters with prosperity. Every moment of doubt in the desert dissolves into waves of accelerated faith. Your trials are the soil where God plants seeds for a rapid, bountiful yield. God is accelerating the rewards of your faithfulness beyond what eyes have seen. In the wake of wilderness woes, God's harvest emerges with unstoppable force. Every challenge overcome ignites the engine of your accelerated destiny. God redeems lost time, propelling you into a harvest that arrives in due season. The depth of your desert experience fuels the breadth of your coming wealth. Your struggles were divine invitations to an accelerated life of abundance. God turns every wilderness whisper into a roar of prosperous declaration. Hidden in hardship is the key to unlocking God's speedy financial freedom. Every trial traversed accelerates your alignment with divine prosperity plans. God is compressing your path, turning years of wait into moments of harvest. Your endurance through scarcity signals the dawn of accelerated blessings. In God's timing, wilderness wounds become wellsprings of wealth and joy. Every setback in the desert sets the stage for God's explosive comeback. God accelerates the fulfillment of promises, turning struggles into stories of triumph. Your past pains are the foundation stones for God's towering harvest edifice. Hidden strengths from trials propel you into realms of accelerated favor. God transforms desert dryness into rivers of rapid, overflowing provision. Every moment of hardship hastens the arrival of your divine wealth inheritance. Your wilderness journey was the prelude to God's accelerated glory reveal. God is fast-tracking your blessings, making up for every lost opportunity. In the echo of struggles, God's harvest accelerates with perfect precision. Every trial endured equips you for a wealth wave that crashes without warning. God redeems and accelerates, turning wilderness woes into wonders of provision. Your resilience in isolation ignites the fuse of accelerated divine favor. Hidden in every challenge is the spark for God's rapid breakthrough fire. God compresses timelines, ushering your harvest from wilderness to wealth swiftly. Every scar of struggle becomes a badge of honor in your accelerated ascent. Your desert experiences are the raw materials for God's crafted prosperity. God accelerates the seeds sown in tears, yielding joy in abundant measure. In the aftermath of adversity, God's harvest multiplies at an astonishing pace. Every hardship navigated positions you for an overflow of accelerated grace. God turns wilderness waiting into a whirlwind of immediate, lavish rewards. Your trials are the catalysts for God's supersonic path to financial freedom. Hidden lessons from the desert unlock vaults of accelerated divine treasure. God is propelling you forward, turning past pains into pillars of prosperity. Every moment of endurance accelerates the manifestation of your promised harvest. Your wilderness story becomes the testimony of God's rapid, redemptive power. God compresses seasons of lack into sudden seasons of surplus and success. In divine acceleration, Every struggle surrenders to waves of wealth and wonder. Every challenge overcome echoes with the sound of God's impending breakthrough. God redeems your path, turning the wilderness into a highway of accelerated blessings. Your journey through trials culminates in a harvest that glorifies God's unfailing love. God never wastes pain. Every trial in your wilderness is a seed for unprecedented wealth. There comes a time when the barren lands of struggle bloom into fields of abundance through divine intervention. Divine preparation turns every setback into a stepping stone toward your accelerated harvest. In the quiet of isolation, God forges your spirit for riches beyond measure. Every moment of scarcity is being redeemed for a season of overflow and prosperity. The wilderness whispers secrets of wealth that only the chosen can decipher. Hidden within your hardships lies the blueprint for a legacy of blessings. God orchestrates every delay to align with your destined breakthrough. Your past pains are the foundation upon which your wealth will be built. Through the fire of trials, God refines you for a harvest that multiplies exponentially. No struggle is in vain. It's the prelude to your spiritual and financial elevation. The echoes of your wilderness experiences resonate with promises of divine favor. Each challenge faced is a divine chisel shaping your path to abundance. God transforms your tears in the desert into rivers of wealth flowing freely. In the depths of your struggles, seeds of prosperity are being planted by heavenly hands. You've endured seasons where resources seemed depleted, yet God was preparing your overflow. Moments of confusion in the wilderness reveal God's intricate plan for your riches. Financial droughts have tested your faith, but they precede an abundant rain of blessings. Isolation in hardship has been a classroom for your future wealth. Doors that closed unexpectedly were redirecting you to gates of greater opportunity. Life's harder paths were not punishments, but pathways to your accelerated destiny. In the midst of scarcity, God was cultivating resilience for your coming harvest. Every unmet expectation in the wilderness was a setup for exceeding abundance. Struggles that felt endless were merely the shadows before the dawn of your wealth. Your journey's hardships were divine invitations to embrace a higher calling. Through persistent trials, God is unveiling the treasures hidden in your trials. The wilderness's deprivations are being exchanged for divine provisions beyond imagination. Each obstacle overcome in struggle amplifies the magnitude of your impending breakthrough. God uses every moment of lack to ignite a fire of unyielding faith in your spirit. Hardships that isolated you were crafting a story of triumph and prosperity. Beneath the surface of your trials lies a truth: God is engineering your wealth. What seemed like chaos was precise divine molding for your harvest acceleration. Hardships were not random. They were God's way of equipping you for overflow. The wilderness forged your character, turning it into a vessel for abundant blessings. Every test in your path was a revelation of God's tailored preparation for riches. Divine wisdom reveals that struggles were stepping stones to your destined prosperity. God's hand in your hardships was shaping a future of exponential growth. The hidden truth of your journey is God's acceleration toward wealth and favor. Trials were God's method to build endurance for the weight of your blessings. In the wilderness, God was not absent. He was actively preparing your triumph. Every delay was a divine strategy to maximize your harvest's impact. Your path's challenges were revelations of God's perfect timing for abundance. God transforms wilderness woes into wonders of wealth and fulfillment. The core of your struggles was God's invitation to a life of multiplied resources. Hidden in plain sight, your trials were blueprints for breakthrough and prosperity. You stand apart, carrying a spark of divine potential that ignites wealth. Your uniqueness lies in a calling that turns emptiness into endless provision. Unlike the ordinary, your spirit is wired for multiplication and divine success. God has embedded in you a force that converts scarcity into surplus. Your experiences set you on a trajectory of influence and financial freedom. In a world of limitations, you embody God's promise of boundless harvest. Your path is distinct, marked by a divine anointing for exponential growth. You possess an inner drive that propels you from lack to lavish abundance. God's design for you includes a uniqueness that attracts wealth effortlessly. Your story is one of transformation, where ordinary efforts yield extraordinary results. You are crafted to rise above with a spirit that commands prosperity. In the tapestry of life, your thread is golden, woven for wealth and purpose. Your separation from the crowd is God's way of highlighting your destined riches. God affirms your worth, positioning you for a harvest that defies expectations. In the wilderness, you were not forgotten. You were being set up for glory. Divine favor marks you, turning isolation into a launchpad for blessings. Your faithfulness in trials is being rewarded with accelerated wealth. God sees your perseverance and is accelerating your path to abundance. You are chosen, and your separation is a sign of impending overflow. Every moment of solitude was God's way of preparing you for prominence. Affirmation comes. Your wilderness was a divine setup for success. God's plan ensures your struggles lead straight to seasons of surplus. You are valued beyond measure, destined for a wealth that inspires awe. In God's eyes, your journey is a masterpiece of preparation and promise. Right now, divine forces are speeding up your harvest of riches. Wealth is emerging from the shadows, propelled by God's mighty hand. Doors once shut are now swinging wide with opportunities for prosperity. Your prayers for overflow are being answered in rapid, miraculous ways. God is fast-tracking your blessings, turning whispers into shouts of abundance. The seeds you've sown are sprouting faster, yielding a bountiful return. Acceleration is here. Your financial dreams are materializing swiftly. Divine momentum is carrying you from lack to lavish fulfillment. Wealth flows like a river, accelerated by God's unfailing promises. Your harvest is intensifying, bringing forth fruits of success immediately. God's timing is accelerating, flooding your life with unforeseen prosperity. The shift is palpable. Your spirit senses the rush of blessings. Internally, you're feeling the pull toward a new era of wealth. Wilderness woes are fading as favor floods your every step. Signs of change are evident, marking the start of your abundant season. God's acceleration is turning your struggles into stories of triumph. You sense it now, the divine shift ushering in waves of prosperity. External forces may resist, but they only highlight your authentic calling. Opposition arises because your rising wealth disrupts the ordinary. Doubts from others are mere shadows against your divine destiny. Those who challenge you are unaware of the power within your path. Resistance is a testament to the magnitude of your impending harvest. External pressures are fuel for your breakthrough to abundance. Fears that linger are signs of the breakthrough just ahead. God exposes hindrances to empower you to overcome and thrive. It's your moment to shatter doubts and embrace your wealth. Rise now, casting off the chains of hesitation for your destiny. Awaken to the call, your harvest awaits your bold declaration. Step forward with confidence, claiming the riches God has ordained. No more lingering in uncertainty, seize your accelerated blessings. Challenge yourself to act. The wilderness ends with your first step. You hold the authority to manifest your divine wealth. God's equipping makes you unstoppable in pursuing prosperity. Declare your power. Wealth is yours by divine right. With God's strength, you command the forces of abundance. Your inner fire, ignited by God, propels you to claim your harvest victoriously.